Dr. Yolanda, it's so good to have you back. Thank you so much. Now, we've talked a little bit about, or a lot bit about what obsessive compulsive disorder is, and I know that you are an expert in the treatment of OCD as well as stress and anxiety. And you specialize in what is known in the clinical space as the gold standard for OCD treatment. And so it'd be wonderful for you to dig into what that is for us so we can have a better understanding. But to get us started, could you share once again what OCD stands for and what that is or what it looks like?
Absolutely. So OCD has two main components to it. The first half of it is the O, it's the obsession. And that's the thing that pops in, whether it's a thought or an image or an urge. And it pops in, it's unwanted, and it causes us distress, fear, dread. And then we do something to get that distress to go away. That's the natural state of humans. We want to escape that. And that's the C in OCD, it's the compulsion. It's the response that we do in order to get rid of that fear and the distress that the obsession caused. And what happens is that OCD can get us stuck in a cycle. When the obsession comes in, we feel uncomfortable, we do the compulsion to make that discomfort go away. And that works, but it only works temporarily. It just gives us some temporary relief until the next time the obsession sets in again, the next time that life presents something that makes us uncomfortable, and we engage in the compulsion again. And it's a cycle that we're trying to break.
I'm curious, what separates OCD from somebody who has uncomfortable feelings and then goes and drinks or binge watches Netflix or eats a lot of cookies? What's different in this pattern of behavior?
Typically, the compulsion is really designed and targeted to focus on the content of the obsession. So you see a really clear link. So if the thing that's distressing me is a fear about safety, my compulsion is going to be about ensuring safety, doing something to make sure things are okay. If I'm worried about dirt and contamination, my compulsion is going to be directly tied to that. So you see a really clear link between the repeated behavior and the content of what the worry is, or sort of a direct link.
So imagine the treatment then, I mean, that is so fascinating, that link would be in some respects, and maybe this is the exposure piece, creating some discomfort and then stopping the compulsive relief.
Yeah, so let's
That
talk.
sounds, yeah, that sounds tough. So what does
Yeah,
that look like?
yeah, it sounds tough. It may sound a little scary, and it doesn't have to be. So ERP, or exposure and response prevention, is about breaking that cycle, right? And so I mentioned that the compulsion will give you some temporary relief. It makes you feel better in the moment, right? The problem with that is that the brain then says, oh, good, compulsions work, let's keep doing them. And that's not really helpful to us. So we need to rewire that a little bit and make compulsions not work so well.
Hmm.
So what that means is we're sort of recreating the cycle in the beginning. We're doing something so that that obsession is there, it comes in, it pops in, but we're going to block that compulsion. That's the response prevention part of ERP, the RP of ERP. We're not going to do that compulsion. What that means is that we won't get that immediate sense of relief.
Yeah.
But we will get relief. And this is the key thing to take away. Our bodies are designed to get used to discomfort. What happens in OCD is we jump to making the discomfort going away as quickly as possible. If we sit with it, there's your exposure part of ERP. If we expose ourselves to the discomfort and just sit with it, your brain and your body will naturally get used to it and it will calm itself back down. So that's what we're doing. We are in a way recreating that cycle, but we're breaking up one of the links so that we can stop it from going on repeat.
So I would imagine, I could hear you said this could feel a little scary. So I'm thinking about something I don't really want to do and dipping my toes into the water, the discomfort, and my brain and my body going, ah, run away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exposure sometimes sounds like a scary word. A lot of folks that I work with don't like to use that word. So
what's a
we
word?
talk,
Yeah, what's a word you use?
yeah, we reframe it. These are opportunities, right? Think about it as a game, me versus OCD. Me and my therapist versus OCD, me, my therapist, and my family versus OCD.
I love
Right?
that.
And each of these exposures, it's like a round in a battle, right? This is a round. I'm going to try to get a point against OCD this time. I'm going to try to dip my toes and I'm going to try to outlast the OCD. I'm going to try to outlast that urge to engage in my compulsion. We're just racking up points. And all of these little games that we play, they are co-designed, right? No one ever tells anyone you have to do this. You have to go into the cold pool and go all the way in. These are all collaborative. We figure out how far do we go? How fast do we go? And we go in manageable steps. We sort of, build up from the ground. The point is to set ourselves up for success, but it can be done in a playful way, in a fun way, and in a way that doesn't feel scary or overwhelming.
I love that. You're creating opportunities, and I'm kind of thinking of every single level, getting new points, showing the self greater capacity, and that
Yeah.
it's the OCD over here and self over here.
Yes. Yes. And we can take charge. We can take back control, right? That's one of the beauties of this type of treatment is that by doing these exposures or these taking advantage of these opportunities, that's my choice. I'm doing that. I'm in charge here. This isn't OCD popping up in life and taking charge and throwing something at me. This is me saying, no, I'm going to approach. I'm going forward into this. This is on my terms. And there's a real sense of agency that comes from that, that really empowers folks to move forward.
And agency feels good.
Sure does. Sure does. Yeah.
So, if any of our listeners are struggling with OCD, if you're based here in California, that's where Yolanda practices. Our information's linked below, so give us a call. Or, Yolanda, is there a resource location where people can go to find out more if they're not based in California and they'd like to get some treatment or support?
Yeah, there's a great website. The acronym is IOCDF, which is the International OCD Foundation, iocdf.org. And there you can learn more about OCD, and also find treatment providers, both individual providers and groups.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for your time as always, and thank you for the incredible healing work and gifts that you bring to so many. We
My
appreciate you.
pleasure. Thank you.
See you soon.